Hi, thanks for clicking. I'm just going to talk really quickly about a current issue that stands out to me right now. And so I was listening to the radio today, and I was listening to someone who was sort of bashing Kevin Hart, which is a current issue right now. How 10 years ago, Kevin Hart gave some homophobic slurs on Twitter, and then now he has been chosen to host the Oscars, which is a dream of his. And then someone dug up those tweets, and they're saying, look at Kevin Hart, he was homophobic 10 years ago, he shouldn't be hosting the Oscars. And he got a lot of backlash for this. Kevin Hart says that he's apologized for it, that it's not something that should be penalizing him now, and the Oscars said that he has to apologize for it again or step down from the Oscars. He says that's not right. Then he stepped down from the Oscars. He says that if he did host the Oscars now, it would be more about him and not the people winning the awards. It's a whole situation. And so this person on the radio was saying how Kevin Hart is wrong, he's a homophobe, how he's doing this selfishly, and how now the Oscars has to pay for it because now they're going hostless. That might change after this video, I don't know. And it's this whole thing. Now, I'm not bashing this guy's opinion on what Kevin Hart did. He's entitled to his opinion, and I'm not defending Kevin Hart right now necessarily. I'm saying that whether or not you think that what he did was wrong is okay. Because right now, this is a situation that is gray, right? So Kevin Hart was homophobic before, or he gave some homophobic signs, he said some bad things on Twitter. He apologized for it, and now people are saying whether or not they think that it's okay for him to host the Oscars now, or whether he shouldn't be. And now I might have my own opinion on it. That's not right now what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, the fact is that it's okay either way right now to have either opinion, I think. But the important thing is to acknowledge the fact that your opinion is your opinion, and to have like a good awareness of that, and to be aware that what I'm thinking right now is not an objective truth, it's subjective, and the fact that someone else has a different opinion is okay. Now, I will say that there are some instances where that's not necessarily true, or I don't agree with it. And in that instance, I'll bring up Louis C.K. and I'll say that so he recently was charged with some sexual misconduct allegations where there were four men, oh my gosh, four women, I'm nervous, there were four women, and he masturbated in front of them. And that they're very traumatized because of that, they say. And his career, well, I won't say his career was ruined. He actually recently just released a new stand-up, but he says his world is over, with the backlash that is happening because of that. The instance here is that Louis C.K. asked them for consent. They said yes before he did his sexual misconduct. They agreed to it verbally. Now, the important thing here is that these women's lives were ruined. So they are hurt. I disagree with anyone who says that they're doing it just for attention, they're doing it for money, they're doing it for people to notice them. I would say, okay, it's fair to say their lives are ruined. Yes, I would believe them in that case. They say that the issue was the fact that they felt pressured into doing this for Louis, and that Louis shouldn't have asked them to in general because it was the whole power differential where Louis is very famous, these women were less famous, they felt like they had to say yes. That's the story as I understand it. And so Louis shouldn't have asked them to do it in the first place. But the fact that they consented means that it's different, it's complicated, and the person on the radio, this is also about a radio show I was listening to, compared Louis C.K. to Bill Cosby, and says people who are sexual offenders, Louis C.K., Bill Cosby, like, they're wrong, they're scum. Now, the issue here is not acknowledging the gray area in between that exists, whether you're on this side of the fence or that, I think is fine, have a dialogue about it, but you can't pretend that what Louis did is equivocal to someone who drugged younger women and then raped them and covered it up for years and years. That's wrong. And I think if you have an opinion on the other side, you try to defend Bill Cosby, you're wrong. I feel comfortable in saying that. That is not an issue that can be debated. What he did, unless there's something intrinsically wrong with you, I think it's fair to say that that is wrong. What Bill Cosby did is wrong, objectively. But what Louis did, it's wrong that the women were hurt. It's wrong that the women's lives were ruined. I don't think anyone should debate that. Yes, 100%. What Louis did hurt these women, and that is wrong. But Louis' intention is the issue behind this. Did he mean to ruin these women's lives? Did he mean to ruin these women's lives? I would say no. I mean, I would say, well, knowing what I know about it, I mean, I know just as much as anyone else who consumes media, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he had malcontent. It seems like he's very sorry for what he did, but the fact that consent was given makes this a very gray issue, where I don't want to take credibility or power from the women who were wronged, because that's a horrible situation to be in. But just the fact that it went about in a different way than someone who just black and white did something wrong. The issue here that I'm trying to get at is when people don't give the grayness of these situations the time of day, that they don't acknowledge that both sides of these opinions are okay and should be discussed. And when people on radio talk shows talk about this and they say it like, this is the truth because I'm coming from an emotional standpoint, and they're not acknowledging, okay, but people who have other opinions on these specific issues are wrong, when they're not necessarily. Like, it's okay, I think, to be on both sides, is what I'm trying to say. And it's not okay to just kind of put a blanket over some situations and say, this is right and this is wrong, because then you're alienating an entire part of the debate. That's why I think that those radio talk shows where people with one opinion are going out and talking about it like it's a general truth, like it's a truism, that there's a mistake with that. That in that instance, that gives less credibility to your radio show. And I feel like there's more credibility in things like long-form podcasts where two people have different debates, because these issues are complex, and if you give a soundbite for 5 minutes just trying to summarize these issues, that doesn't give them any time of day or any credit to the complexity of these issues. And I hope what I was trying to say came across. Thanks for clicking my video and watching all 7 minutes of it. Bless your face. Goodbye.